Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to our Fireside Chat. It is my honor and privilege to welcome my very special guest, and I would dare say, very good friend, Marianne Yule, President, CEO of HP Canada. Marianne, welcome to our little virtual Fireside Chat.
Hey, Bill, it's great to see you. And yes, definitely, I consider us friends. So really happy to be here. And thank you so much to you and everybody at Ingram for our great partnership.
As I know many partners are really interested to hear about your business, I think you of all people can talk specifically about this year's challenges with COVID. And, I'm interested during the conversation and I'm sure everyone else is interested to learn more about the challenges that you faced. I mean, this has been, as everyone has said time and time again, unprecedented. If you wouldn't mind, take a few minutes and share with us some of the challenges that HP faced during the onset of the COVID pandemic.
Sure, I'd be happy to, Bill. And most importantly, I truly hope all of you and your family and all your people are safe and healthy. As far as HP and how we managed through the situation is, as soon as the pandemic began, we implemented and activated our global resiliency plan, something we have on the tap all the time, as many big organizations do. And our first priority was the health and safety of our employees, partners, and customers. Like you, we're a technology company, so it was pretty relatively easy for HP to implement work from home. We've got the tools, the computers, the printers, there's collaborative software we use, video conferencing, everything. So that worked, and everyone continued to be productive, just working differently. We did a lot of work to make sure that we had a lot of information and communications to ensure the well-being of our employees. Everything from, how do you sell now when it's not face-to-face in person, to training on how do you do great video calls, and right up to things that are fun to make sure people are happy and healthy and safe. Things like we had a virtual dance party with a top DJ, and we have resources for parents who have kids at home now, exercise tips, a whole bunch of things that we're doing on a regular basis for our employees, all to make sure that they're healthy and their productivity remains stronger ideally than pre-pandemic. And we've all witnessed that, because I think we've all managed to retain our productivity levels despite this. In parallel, we worked with you, Ingram, and our channel partners, because we're a channel company and we sell virtually all the time with our channel partners. So we work to support your initial lockdown efforts and more recently your recovery efforts. Incrementally, we invested a lot more in customer support, publishing information about common questions like how do you sanitize your PC and printer, cybersecurity, and battery health. So there was a lot of things we did to ensure that we could keep everybody continue to be productive.
Marianne, that's amazing, and you guys did really do an incredible job of pivoting from an office company to a remote work company. I mean, my hat's off to you and the team. I think it was seamless for our partners, and I know for us it was critical because, as you know, the PC market exploded at the onset of the pandemic as more and more companies were forced to go remote and enact some sort of a work remote strategy. I think what I'm interested to hear about is, you have a lot of different products that you're managing, and was it a big difference in the lines that you manage between the, say, PC and print? Were they impacted differently? Give us a little insight onto that.
It's for sure been a wild ride. To give you a little perspective and frame it, we reported our Q3 results. Our third quarter ended July 31st, and we had a solid Q3 in a tough environment. Our total company revenue was $14 billion and flat in constant currency. And while as an organization and as people, we're never happy with flat revenue, but it was up $1 billion above Wall Street's estimates, which is a good thing. Personal systems, you're right. Personal systems was up. We generated $10.4 billion and we were up 9%. And we delivered a record 18 million units in the quarter. As expected, print experienced a challenging quarter given the pandemic. And we saw a significant shift in home printing due to the work from home and learn from home requirements. The US market represents 36% of the worldwide $14 billion number. And Canada's performance closely mirrored the trends of the overall company, where the shortfalls in my country number in commercial print were offset by extraordinary gains in personal systems and particularly notebook demand. In commercial space, Chromebooks for education market are on fire. And our commercial print still remains challenged because customers have not yet returned to their office towers. So they're not printing pages. But we're having a strong offset in that with home printing, because those office tower workers, they still need to print, and now they're printing at home. And printing is doing quite well, actually, in healthcare verticals and other verticals like that have that requirement, that are serving communities differently. So for this quarter, and probably through to the end of the calendar year, we expect continued strong demand for PCs and home printing. But the pandemic has impacted supply chains in the industry overall. Much of that initial pandemic supply chain challenges in Asia, they've been dealt with. But we do expect challenges for CPUs and panels for PCs this quarter. We're also hearing from customers that they're really concerned about security as people work from home. And we've noted there's been a 600% increase globally in cyber attacks since COVID forced remote work. So HP's investment in products, innovation, making our PCs and printers the most secure on earth is resonating with customers even more strongly now than before.
That's fantastic. And I know you guys were really at the forefront of that security push at the end point and at the edge. So I applaud you guys for being forward thinking, and I think it really paid off. Let's shift gears a little bit, right? I mean, I think the COVID outbreak not only became the focus of everyone, but I think it forced many companies to transform and to look at their business a little differently, right? I know it did for Ingram. So I'd be curious to hear from your point of view, what are some examples of maybe some transformational activities that happened as a result of the COVID pandemic?
Bill, like you and like probably every partner that's on this call and all our customers, we've all been working on this transformational work, right? And it doesn't stop just because COVID showed up. And for most of us, it's for HP for sure, it's one of our key strategic areas. So, we continue to advance the innovation in both our PC and print products by introducing great new products during this pandemic that makes everyone's life a little bit easier as a result of the changes for how people are working. We've also launched a new partner program, Amplify, and this is a new kind of innovative way to engage with business and our partners differently to better serve our customers, because they're changing their buying habits. They've always been changing, so it's something we've been working with and looking at for a long time, but it's amplified differently now, given the current situation on how people are consuming technology products and where their sources of information. Another notable impact of the pandemic is the increase in 3D print. I mentioned this earlier. The government of Canada demonstrated power compared to a lot of other countries in its ability to aggregate a demand and harness supply of personal protective equipment. So we worked at HP Canada with the federal government to stand up a domestic supply chain for 3D printed COVID personal protective equipment. And we have more than 10 small and medium Canadian businesses that had already invested in our HP 3D printing technology for digital manufacturing, who were threatened when this pandemic started with shutting down because of it. And now they're producing more parts than ever and are investing more and more in more highly skilled technical resources, service and support personnel, and technology. And it's such a cool part of the business, because 3D printing allows people, organizations to quickly prototype, improve, and launch new designs. And so you can go from plastic powder and a concept to a clinically approved PPE in less than 60 days. And that's really amazing. So in Canada, HP has worked with our partner community to deliver over 500,000 3D printed face shields to healthcare workers across the country with the federal contract. And we're working now with the federal government on 3D printed nasal swabs, because as the COVID cases continue to rise, the testing requirements continue to increase. And we're sharing our global best practices around that, because we've done this in other countries on Earth, and we're bringing that knowledge into Canada. So we're using the resources from HP Labs, our engineers, our scientists, the FDA quality approvals, and our work with the Harvard Consortium. And we're aggregating that in our country and serving it up to the federal government to be able to better take care of Canadian citizens. So that's really exciting for me personally, because it's a really cool, different kind of work. But it's also great for the HP, because I think, and for our country, because I think it'll further enhance Canada's ability to be really seen as with our technology ingenuity and enhance the country's brand on the global stage of innovation. And it creates an impetus for traditional manufacturing to reinvent and revolutionize manufacturing in our country as we soldier through recovery to our next new normal. Another thing that the pandemic has provided is this interesting outcome. There's this reckoning as a result of the pandemic. It's a preview of what a future would be like if we don't do more greening of our world. And this is a strong area for HP. We've done a lot of really great work, and we have great competitive advantages on our sustainability efforts. And we've been deeply involved both within commercial and public sector customers to change their procurement practices in Canada, to truly address and achieve their sustainability goals that their CEOs all tout on their calls and on their PowerPoint presentations. So the change needs to happen in procurement. So we're doing some really good work there, and I'm very excited about that. So if you don't know a lot about our sustainability practices, please take a look at it.
Did you ever think, did Mary Ann Yule ever think, when you started at HP, that you would be talking about technology like 3D printing and plastic face shields? And I mean, you have to say about your own organization, the transformation you've been able to achieve is truly incredible. And I know you've got to be proud about that, because I know how proud you are to be here in Canada leading the organization. And I think being able to talk about all the things you and your organization are doing for both the Canadian economy as well as just the Canadian people, it's truly amazing. So well done.
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, HP's got some really great stuff, but what jazzes me is, you're right, I'm in the country. So the fact that we in our HP Canada world can actually take these amazing technologies and make impact in our country, yes, that really makes me excited. I'm really proud of the team's efforts, because they've been working like crazy on doing these things. Very exciting times.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I'll switch gears again, because, Marian, I've always thought very highly. You know this. I've shared this with you in the past. I've always thought very highly of your management style, your leadership style. Many times I've watched you speak, and I see how you handle meetings and events, and I've always thought of you as being one of the strongest figures in the Canadian market when it comes to really driving your business and ensuring the achievement of your goals. But how has your leadership style changed as a result of all of this craziness that's been going on? And what learnings are you going to be able to incorporate going forward as you continue to evolve as a leader?
Well, first, thanks. Those are great big words, and thank you so much for the compliments. I'm honored to thank you. That's just amazing. Well, you know me, Bill, right? I am what I am, right? I'm pretty authentic, so I speak from my heart all the time, mirrored with the stuff that's in my brain. But I love being a leader, and I love having the amazing people around me that I get to work with. And I'm super proud of the leadership overall as HP as a global corporation through that, what we've demonstrated through the pandemic, not just making the physical health and safety of our employees paramount, but caring about their mental health, racial equality, support for parents of school-age kids, keeping employees engaged. On the positive side, I've been able to get laser focused on the business, experiment with new ways to manage my time, my energy, to ensure that my most important priorities are tackled. I instituted frequent checkups, or check-ins rather, and not just with my leadership team, but with everybody at HP Canada. For the most part, the pandemic has brought countries together and offered opportunities for political leaders and leaders of corporations to really step up. And our entire HP Canada organization, we're doing regular huddles on Zoom. We do them every other week for about an hour, and we started doing this in March. And it's just to stay connected and provide reliable information and support to HP Canada employees.
In closing, is there any final thoughts? Is there anything that you would love to tell the partners that we didn't get a chance to cover during this session, or anything that you want to leave us with?
I'd love to leave everybody on this call with thank you. Thank you for delighting our customers by selling HP products and services. We're in our fourth quarter right now at HP, so thank you for helping us close strong. And thank you for everything you're doing for our industry overall, advancing technology, transforming with technology, and for supporting and protecting our country's people, economy, and our recovery. So simply, I guess it's thank you, everyone, and please be well.
So I want to thank you all for spending a little time on this virtual fireside chat with myself and, of course, Mary Ann Yule. President, CEO of HP Canada. Marianne, thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to talk to the partners and to us around HP and some of the things that have been going on.